you guys still good to now watch an actual video?
And how long is it?
Oh, well, we don't have to watch all of it. I'm mainly just interested in what argument he's going to make.
Yeah, we can start.
Oh gosh, that's much louder. Wait, why is it? Oh, right, it started like halfway through. Yeah, let me make sure the volume thing is in the right position, because you never know with this shit.
21 minutes? Damn.
Yeah, this one's been
guys,
requested quite a bit,
the
too.
Jared Genesis video, the correct one, anyway, his channel, he's wearing a blue shirt.
Yeah, blue shirt.
So
Oh yeah, I
just
spammed
go to
it in
that
chat.
one.
I'll just spam it again
blue
now.
shirt, Scooby.
Yeah, you might want to spam it again. Just
Guys, this is the channel, and you got to keep track of it in order to keep track of the lore. Otherwise, you'll lose track, and you won't understand anything.
And then you can suggest videos to us. We do check. Someone said Jared owns a sock?
It's his drum sock.
His fucking drum sock.
The Empire Strikes Back.
What if he like
everything.
just puts butter at the bottom of his sock and he uses that as a drum? Like he'll swing it around in a circle and be like, he can like do a Phil Collins thing and be like dun 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 dun, and then his drum will break.
I feel like we should probably clarify it. We're gonna have to do it every time, but there's gonna be a selection of people who think we're bullying him. I usually try and put out a word for it, but I don't know if Rags or Wolf, do you want to say something this time around? We're gonna have to do it once every time, probably.
Well, yes, I actually follow Jared on Twitter. I am very nice to him. You guys should be very nice to him. I mean, we do kind of laugh at him because it's hard not to, but we actually want him to come on with us. Only problem is that Rags needs to apologize for that to happen.
For what? What did I do? What am I apologizing for?
I guess he wants you to apologize for something, and then he'll come on.
I don't know what for.
I don't know what for either. He doesn't exactly specify.
He should
wants you to
specify.
apologize for.
And ultimately, Jared's goal is to share his thoughts on every topic that there ever was. So honestly, like, subscribing makes him very happy. He's interested in having an audience, I think.
Rags, did you see? Because I know that people spammed me and Mahler with the video, but there was like some Mexican bitch that was like making a video series on Jared and how he's like a whole person. And did you see that?
About he's a what person?
A terrible person or something.
Who is this bitch?
Picking on our Lord and Savior.
Who is this blasphemous cunt?
Well, anyway, I don't know. I don't remember what her name was. It was a couple weeks ago that I actually watched the video, but basically in the video she was like, I know that all these subscribers you're suddenly getting are fake. She has like 7 subscribers. And...
She's jealous of Jared.
Yeah.
She's jealous of Jared's YouTube success. I can't believe Jared Genesis. He's up to 317. That's amazing.
It's the most subscribers he's ever had.
Wait, he's got 317?
317 now,
Oh,
yeah.
neat. Because when I opened up his page, he was on 278,
Wait.
so that's a bump for him.
Because you need to have like 1,000 to live stream, right?
I think so, yeah.
Let's get him up to 1,000 so he can live stream, guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, we'll make him so happy too.
So anyway, this is
He
a
did
video
another room tour video, by the way.
that's apparently critical of Thanos from the Avengers, if you guys remember. And a lot of people
Thanos, okay.
have requested it because apparently it's rather critical of the film. So I was like, let's give it a shot then.
I thought you said the nose at first, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The Empire Strikes Back ruined everything. We took the wrong lessons from it. I am so conflicted on this movie. This piece will probably be divisive, and I don't intend it to be, but this movie is unapologetically divisive. I'll readily admit my show is about celebrating films, and while that is one of
the most high-rated Marvel movies.
Yeah, I wouldn't have described Infinity War as divisive, but
I don't think it's divisive at all.
I'm willing to hear him out. Let's give him a shot. He's got the essay format in full. He's even got the nice voice. You know, well, the soft voice, or soft-ish. I don't know. Maybe people wouldn't interpret it as that, but we shall see.
As I'm going to do in this piece, that isn't all I'm going to do. I've celebrated Marvel movies many, many, many times in the past.
What's
and
with the fucking music?
I guess he's going for melancholic. That would be.
I
You know,
guess.
people like asked me, or a guy asked me on Twitter the other day, like, why don't you use music in your? It's like it's shit like this where they like put this melancholy bullshit music in the background to emotionally manipulate you into feeling something about these piece of shit videos, distracting you from the otherwise piece of shit vapid commentary.
I'm not gonna say I'm 100% against it, but like in this case, for example, it is very like, wow, this seems a little bit over the top. But you know, whatever. It depends on what he's got to say, really. For me, will make or break this.
Stand by what was said in those pieces because there was one powerful through line in all of those films. Marvel movies are not made just for kids, and they're not made just for adults, and they're not made just for fans of the comics. That's why they're successful. No one owns them. Marvel films are made for everyone.
They're owned by Disney.
Jesus, he's already at 343 now.
Nice. I think Jared should be
He
pretty
raised
happy about
like
that.
30 subs at this
He
point.
might be able to make a video in celebration. So thank you all in chat for supporting him. Yeah, there's the other thing, by the way, about video essays. It's very much a nitpick, and maybe this doesn't apply to this guy, but I don't know. I feel a little bit right now like, come on, you know?
And I think if you're going to take something from this piece, it's that Infinity War wasn't made for everyone. Certainly wasn't made for fans of Guardians of the Galaxy.
It wasn't?
Why?
Why would it not be?
Also, the fact that James Gunn wrote the dialogue, or at least consulted, so wouldn't it be pretty whatever, he's made the point. He hasn't got any evidence yet.
Got him. Jesus Christ! One thing
Oh wait, was it a joke?
What?
Was that a joke? Let me go back.
What was the punchline exactly?
this piece, it's that Infinity War wasn't made for everyone. Certainly wasn't made for fans of Guardians of the Galaxy. Got him. Jesus Christ! One thing
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
What was the that doesn't make any fucking sense.
All I've got in my head, and this is very vague, is, you know, obviously they get dusted, pretty much all of them. So is it a joke that this obviously wasn't made for them because they got dusted? Is that it? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Why wouldn't you have shown a clip of them getting dusted, though, if that was the case? Yeah, I don't know. Lost on that one.
that has not changed about my show is I am not trying to take anything away from anyone. Not you, not your friends, nor do I attempt to sway your opinion on this movie.
Well,
It's okay to have feelings, guys.
surely you want to sway someone's opinion on this if you're going to be providing an argument.
Yeah, I want people to believe me.
But,
I want to convince people.
you know, are you saying the reason you're sharing it is because you just want people to hear you? Because, you know, I'm assuming... Basically, what I'm trying to get at is if his only intention was to be heard, then wouldn't he just say, I found the movie device... He's going to prove his points, I'm assuming, because it's 20 fucking minutes, so he's going to do something. But, like, there's no harm in wanting to sway someone's opinion. Oh, put the volume down. Wow. Never actually thought I'd hear that.
Turn it down!
But I am going to state my own. Love it, hate it, be you. And it doesn't really matter if I say that. Some people are about to get very mad at me in the comments. It always happens.
Oh. He defended The Last Jedi. I imagine that he probably didn't
Well, I just
appreciate...
looked at the ratings for this one, and it was 8,000 upvotes to 3,000 down.
And this is the thing. He called it in defense of The Last Jedi, so I'm assuming he's going to have defended it for its, you know, positive elements,
Themes.
which probably got him in trouble because it's difficult to do because of the fact, like, we just saw Macintosh having to invent a film to be able to defend The Last Jedi, which is what Just Right did as well. Dare I name more people? So, like, of course, it gets you in a little bit of trouble. But if he'd said, I just like it, he probably would have been okay.
Infinity War both worked and didn't work for me personally. And I know that viewpoint and perspective is not rare. I think it all hinges on Thanos. Infinity War is a magnificent achievement that made...
Anyone else distracted by the slow motion clips? Feels odd to me.
When it started off with like slow-mo Luke's hair blowing, I was like, why does this look so off?
Yeah, just stylistically, I don't know, because he's got access to the movie. I don't know why he can't just have full motion clips, but fair enough.
some depressingly baffling decisions for a lot of people. And I don't like watching my friends get upset. I've been wanting to talk about this movie since it came out in theaters, and now that it's on Blu-ray, I can talk about it here. Buckle up.
I don't know, I think it's making the film look a bit when you slow it down like this. Like it actually comes across as laggy to me, but it is consistent frame rate. So I don't know.
It's back.
Spoilers.
It's like with the old slow-mo before super slow-mo cameras were invented.
Oh
Jesus
man,
Christ.
couldn't you just skip that 2 minutes?
This is the worst intro I think I've ever seen in my
I
entire
had
life.
some buncha crunch on my desk. Who took my buncha crunch? Is this a meme or is this an in-house joke?
I don't know. I don't know what Bunch of Crunch is.
Huh. Also, wow, can I just suggest, tonally, you might want to design a different intro if you're going to have an intro to... His video's intro was very, as we said, melancholic, and then he's like... It's like, wait, what?
Like, okay, you can play Alvin and the Chipmunks on your...
Okay.
Is this not just like the absolute shittiest music ever?
Oh, why? What is this?
If he, I don't know. It's weird that he had "Let's Talk About Thanos" was way shorter than the Bunch of Crunch thing.
I don't know what's going on. I'm confused.
I don't know.
That's why they
Get
don't
better
do
music.
intros. This is shit.
Avengers Infinity War is a film directed by Joe and Anthony Russo and written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. It
Yes.
stars everyone
Thanks
who
for
has
telling us
ever
that.
been in it.
I've always been, because I'm overly critical with everything, that's one of the first points I actually made when I was trying to make reviews. I was like, people always open with saying the date the thing was released and then who made it, and they never have any reason for mentioning these things. Like, you know, if you were saying...
Unless it's relevant to the topic, don't waste our time with it.
It's like they went to the Wikipedia page and they were like, well, I gotta do this, because what else can I do?
Here's some information to show you that I
'Cause-
know.
There's a few things I could say about McFeely and the Russo brothers, but it's like, I probably wouldn't even mention that they made it until maybe the end and say, like, these people should be, you know, maybe congratulated for their work. But yeah, he sort of just glanced over. I wonder if that's going to come back up. I don't know.
In a movie ever, and it grossed more than $2 billion. And I like it a lot. It does a lot of things really well. So, to get to the thing I actually want to talk about, here are the things that absolutely rule about this movie. It sets the stakes immediately. Thanos kills the villain of the first Avengers film and out-hulks the Hulk. Thanos, as a CG character, is an incredible accomplishment, and Josh Brolin does an incredible job with what he's
Just want to say, I agree with everything so far, so
Yep.
cool.
given.
Sounds good.
Better than what he is given, actually. It's incredibly well shot, with trackable action for an audience with wild, wild imagination. Spider-Man is still just a kid on the bus, and on a spaceship. The way the Avengers mix their powers through the entire film is incredible. Thor mixes perfectly with the Guardians of the Galaxy, again something set up by rebooting the tone of the Thor franchise in Ragnarok so that he could fit alongside the Guardians.
Yeah. I mean, you could go into
Thanks.
some more detail on these things, but sure. Because the reason I
They got
agree
along
with
very well.
these is because I agree with these. Anybody who doesn't agree with this would probably find this bit tough to actually watch.
I mean, it's just like, here, I'm going to point out all these things that all of you already know and waste your time before I actually get to the point.
Okay, let's get the things we agree on out of the way, so that when we get to the things we don't agree on, we've already established that we agree
Yeah,
on.
like, I'm not even trying to be mean here, but like I kind of want to skip to the part where we disagree because like he's not going to develop any of this stuff, so I'm just like, okay.
That's a made-up word. Who was made up?
Groot's arm is the handle of the Thanos killing weapon. That was really clever and cool. The way Wanda
Okay.
saves Vision and herself from a mighty fall was super clever. Tony knighting Spider-Man.
See, so to advocate for the people who might disagree with all those things, they'd be like, why is it clever?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a problem because we agree, but
Because I could
If he
argue
was-
for
these are
him, but
things
like,
we
it's
didn't-
just, yeah, it's just.
I also wouldn't call that a mighty fall of 20 feet.
to the Avengers was awesome. I love that Spider-Man and Star-Lord bond over Footloose.
Like in Footloose, the movie?
Exactly like Footloose. Is it still the greatest movie in history?
It never was.
When you said we were going to
He cut the reaction from Star-Lord. Why did he do that? That's the best bit.
That was like one of the best jokes in the movie.
Yeah.
And what did you imagine?
At least it made me laugh.
Maybe even a Starbucks.
And Steve Rogers introducing himself to Groot. Chef's kiss.
I am Steve Rogers.
It's a ride of a film with a hell of a lot going on, which in many ways was the point. There's an air of, can we really pull this off about the whole affair?
I kind of want to
And
watch
yes,
this
what
movie
an-
now. It's like I
Fuck
was
this
just
guy.
like,
Let's watch the Infinity. Let's watch the
I
Infinity
can't,
War.
dude. I can't
I mean,
believe we're 4 and 20 minutes, 26 in. This is the quickest we've ever been through a video because nothing's really getting done yet.
he's just like viscerally reminding me, like, oh yeah, I really like that movie. Now I want to
Yeah,
watch
that part was good, and that part was good. I agree.
Amazing
Are we getting
achievement
to the
that
bad
can't be
bits
taken
now?
away from the Russos or Marvel. It took 18 movies worth of characters and made something that no character really has control of,
Okay.
save Thanos. Which brings us to...
Okay.
Why did you write that in French?
This was natural. Infinity War feels like a season finale more than a film because it's kind of, by definition, nothing
But it's not a
action.
season
But it
finale.
also sets
I
a strange...
mean, well, it's obviously not literally a season finale, but you could
Well,
relate
yeah,
it.
yeah, but I mean, there's still going to be another Infinity War movie. So
Yeah, but there's a season 2, right? Of I guess you're saying it's like part 1 of a finale in a way.
yeah, because I mean, wouldn't the finale be like the? Because once the next Infinity War movie's done, wouldn't that be the season finale, so to say?
Yeah, this is almost like the episode before the season finale. I guess. There's no reason to sort of,
especially since because it's like the next one comes out next year, right?
actually, like I feel like it's like half a year from now. Actually, I'm not sure. All I
Oh,
know
really?
is that the trailer should be out by now. We need to get hype going, guys. Generate that hype.
This is like the first time I'm going to be hyped for a
moments of
Marvel
the
movie.
film.
It's weird.
The first thing Thanos and the film does is attack and murder unarmed refugees fleeing their war-torn homeland.
He only kills half of them. Just a
You know
detail
what
that
that
you need
is?
to catch.
That is just an allegory for white people.
I just because
Racist xenophobia.
if he's gonna start arguing, because judging from that statement alone, is he gonna say that like Thanos is completely insane, unjust, evil, all this other stuff? So first of all, like I said, it's half the ship, and the writers confirmed that Korg and Valkyrie, the 2 characters we did not see, are alive and well on that half of the ship. Because Thanos blew up this half of the ship because he killed half of the refugees.
I'm still confused by that, given that the Guardians of the Galaxy went there when they were like flying through all the rubble of the ship, and they only Thor. Like, where's the other half of the ship exactly?
Oh, I mean, that's up for Thor 4 to tell us, or for Infinity War Part 2, but there's a lot of things that you could ask that about in Infinity War. It's like, okay, but what about this? It's like, well, that's for next time. Let's just hope they don't Ryan Johnson us, okay? That's the goal. That's what we're
As
after.
such, this is compounded by the fact that it essentially undoes Thor Ragnarok and the entire arc for Thor from that film.
It undoes Thor's arc?
It undoes a couple things.
It undoes his
I
eye.
mean- Well, I feel like the eye part was kind of a part of his arc where he got like all the fucking cool superpower shit at the end of the movie.
yeah,
And
it's
then they're
strange.
like, oh, you new eye.
I assumed that it was literally
Same
just
with the
because like the
hammer.
actor wanted to not wear an eye patch or something.
Yeah, and then I get the narrative reason for why they needed to forge the new hammer, but it's also like, wasn't the whole point of him losing his hammer so that he could like, grow?
Oh well, that's a huge issue in terms of just like you probably should have made this weapon a while ago if it's like the most powerful thing on the planet. I don't know. There's a lot they don't explain about that.
Or just not destroyed Moiner. Moiner. However you pronounce that fucking stupid
Mjolnir.
hammer's
What's
name.
wrong with you?
Mjolnir. I don't know. I only pronounce American words. Sorry.
That ain't no American word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with those bits. Undoing his arc. I just need clarification on what he considers his arc, because there's a couple of things, right? It's not just like one
I wouldn't
thing.
say it would undo his entire arc, but it kind of made a
'Cause-
couple bits of it irrelevant.
Yeah.
Thanos is the bad guy.
Screams are heard echoing from the peanut bleachers like people electively trapped in a cave with
well, bad is subjective, sir.
a megaphone. Yeah, I know. He's also the protagonist of the film, who is given a goal to accomplish and does accomplish it. Which is clever, but that
I would not say he's the protagonist.
I mean, I'm okay with the interpretation. I'm just
Sort
curious
of.
how that counters the idea that he's bad. He set that up as
Yeah.
if it counters the fact that he's bad. Because, I mean, you could argue Palpatine is the protagonist of the prequels. If your logic is they have a goal to achieve and they achieve it by the end. You know, it depends.
Yeah.
Congruence amplifies many of the things that turned people off to this film. The tone of this thing is unrelentingly dire. Multiple characters are tortured, their screams agonizing, which I'll admit I had a pretty tough 2017, and that amount of trauma was tough for me to deal with in the theater. I kept pretending to go to the bathroom. The film made me feel bad and reminded me of a lot of real world stuff that
What a soy boy, what a little bitch.
I wonder if that's going to play into his assessment.
I was triggered by a fucking CGI rock burning. Come on.
People can draw whatever they're going to draw. I just hope he doesn't sort of convert that into some kind of like, this shouldn't be happening in Marvel or something. I don't know.
What bad shit happened in 2017 that made him get triggered by this? I'm sorry, but what the fuck?
Also, yeah, I have to say, like, does he not watch or consume media that's a little bit, you know, on the like? There's way worse stuff than that.
Yeah,
like, does he?
If Infinity War is what did it for you, then damn.
Because like, does he? This is a genuine question. Does he consume adult content? That's my question.
Is the Da Vinci Code the most mature thing he watched?
I don't know, man.
Seriously, how? This was not baby violence. Come on.
Because I was gonna say they're deliberately they're not very violent in these films because of the fact they have to reach a certain rating. They try to avoid the most violent thing you'll see is Iron Man getting stabbed with something, but you barely see any blood.
And he doesn't die from it.
Yeah, it's very tame in these films usually.
not alone on that one.
Do you remember in Black Panther when the woman got her neck slit open? There was no blood or markings. It's just like, no, she's dead.
A lot of people about this movie. Torture, 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 torture.
Apparently people in the chat are saying he almost died because of multiple sclerosis.
Okay. Well, this is the thing. I don't take away from anybody associating whatever they want to whatever they want. It's entirely subjective. I just it's strange that this is what did it for him when it was so, you know, tame compared to what you can really consume. And I assume he's a media channel, as in he consumes media. That would be.
What's his channel name? I want to see what kind of movies.
Movies with Mikey or something, or Film Joy.
Yeah, I assume he watches a lot of films.
Film Joy.
Wait, someone said, for your information, this guy wrote Alien Colonial Marines. Is that true?
If that is, then holy shit, does he not know what he...
Or is that just a random comment that's a joke? Or is that true? Because...
let me see. Alien... writer.
Mikey Newman was the writer for Aliens Colonial Marines.
Oh, God.
And if you go to his About page, it says... He doesn't say his name, his full name. Just or Mikey's Twitter. Let's see if that does it. Mikey, oh my God, he did write Aliens Colonial Marines.
This is the guy who wrote Aliens Colonial Marines.
Okay, well, we can say for sure that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about then.
Hey, well, I mean, we're still waiting for an argument. I know it's been 6 minutes. But
I'm sorry, but Mahler, if you played Aliens Colonial Marines...
Well, that's the thing. I haven't because of watching reviews of it.
Okay, well, I did play it, and it is one of the most abominable stories I think I've... It's like, honestly, Last Jedi levels of shit.
Wait, so to clarify, if the mechanics were amazing, you'd still be saying that, right?
Yes, but the mechanics aren't.
Yeah, that's just a clarification, because I didn't actually know what the story was.
I mean, like, the story is, like, borderline retarded. It's not borderline retarded, it just is retarded.
We're not going to hold these things against him. We're going to allow him free of those claims, even if, I know they're 100% true. But we're just going to see what he has to say, because I know it's been 6 minutes, but he still hasn't made his point yet.
Over 18
just from looking at his channel, the videos the movies he's reviewed, none of them are really violent.
Maybe he doesn't like violent movies. That could actually be a thing.
I mean, there are some movies like Star Wars and other Marvel films. That's about as violent as it gets. Like, no blood or shit. I mean, Blade Runner is probably the most violent thing he's watched.
He's got to have... It's just weird. It's weird to me.
Torture. I get it. Stakes get escalated over 18 films. To make Thanos feel dangerous, he's got to be dangerous, and that mileage will vary by person. But I draw an arrow back to
fucking blanket shields
are for everyone. Seeing a film wield trauma like a circus act is a little rough.
Whoa. What do you mean wield trauma like a circus act?
Wield trauma like us. That is a strange phrase. I would love to.
A lot
find out what
of
you mean by
things
that.
that could mean. Like,
Yeah.
my immediate assumption was he was saying like they're trivializing trauma, which
He watched John Wick.
I
don't
hope he's
know.
not saying that.
How can he watch John Wick and think that this is too violent?
You've seen John Wick? That's way more violent.
That doesn't
John
make
Wick
any
is
fucking
violence.
sense.
And all right, keep going.
Get in the car, kids. We're going to a Disney movie.
What the fuck was that?
Okay.
I guess he's basically complaining that there's too much violence for this movie.
Okay.
That's what he's saying. I think.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to just cite the times in the previous Marvel films where there's been something violent in them? Because there's plenty.
He said John Wick was a slasher.
What?
I
I would go with
seen a slasher.
action movie first, but sure. Okay.
In the sense that a lot of people die, I guess.
The film makes light of them for entertainment.
The film makes light of serious issues for entertainment. Wow.
So it's what?
The film does not make light of the serious issues at all. It's precisely why we take them seriously, my friend. It's why majority of audiences were dead silent once the credits hit at the end of Infinity War, because it was taken
the fucking
very
theater
seriously.
was silent as the grave, man. People didn't know what to think.
It was not
People were
played for
depressed as
entertainment.
shit.
Well, I mean, I guess it is played for entertainment in that
Well,
it's,
entertainment loosely that it's engaging.
Yeah. But
It holds your
again,
attention.
the word I'm waiting for him to use is trivialize. If he uses that, which it sounds like he would have in a synonym there.
Once upon a time, Tony Stark just wanted some Burger King.
That's all.
Okay.
That's it. He just wanted some Burger King. That is Tony Stark.
What?
Tony Stark just wanted some Burger King.
Okay.
And now he's hurtling through space with an arachnid teenager and a space wizard, which is impressive.
Space Wizard!
Hey, we got a
a
Space
Space Wizard, ladies and gentlemen. We got Space Wizard.
Wait, he dies. So that pokes a hole in what's his fuck's
Macintosh.
argument? Yeah.
Yeah, but he's going to come back,
they
and that's
were
the male
able-
fantasy.
Pull this
Dying and coming
narrative
back
off
to life, just like Jesus.
Iron
Just
Man's
like-
arc was once upon a time he simply wanted a burger, now he's flying through space with a space wizard. He's
I was
like, wait, what?
okay. All I wanted was burger. I can't the richest man in the world get some Burger King.
It's the
That's all I
burger
want.
arc.
Now I want to go get
Burger.
Burger King.
convincingly, but the danger also has to escalate. The stakes need to escalate, however arbitrarily we get there.
All of them are
arbitrarily.
Everything in a movie is like arbitrary because you write it the way that you write it.
Just
Like, what do you mean?
it just is arbitrary, I suppose. I mean, that is, he did say at the beginning he doesn't want to convince anyone of anything. I guess he really is just stating his state of mind, and
He
that's
ain't
it.
fucking convincing me.
He's not really making any points. He's just saying things.
With a lot of New York exploding, Avengers 2 dealt with a fictional European town exploding. Civil War convincingly dealt with the fallout of those stakes by having the characters deal with the consequences
Oh, so he likes Civil War. He doesn't like the others.
of their actions.
But never mind, Grimace is pissed.
This movie sets stakes
the
so
fuck is he
unrealistically
doing?
high that they don't even bother justifying them.
What?
They set the stakes so high they don't justify them. What do you mean by that?
I need so much more explanation from this guy.
Yeah, this
They
is.
set the stakes so high.
Just tell me what you mean, please.
Yeah, just
Just some dude is like,
Too many mouths, not enough to go around. And when we faced extinction, I offered a solution.
and it's accepted as some kind of truth. Really, Thanos?
Yeah, by him,
yes.
not by
There
us.
were not enough resources.
Like, we can refuse to believe that that was the answer, of course. The point is that he
But-
believes it was the answer,
Yeah, he's telling the story. He's telling us that from his perspective.
and that he was denied, and then his people died, and that was enough for him to start
That
applying this
convinced him.
worldwide.
Yeah,
And-
he knows what happens when you fail.
And don't
That's
forget,
what,
he did it with Gamora's world, remember? And it was successful.
yeah. So it justifies to him what he needs to do. If he doesn't do it, it fails. If he does do it, it succeeds.
That's what happened in the movie, Mikey. Like, it's all-
How much you gotta eat to maintain that physique? Dude is like 8'5" and weighs like 980 pounds. A cow weighs a little more than that and can eat 27 pounds of food.
Yeah, this is...
What does that have to do with shit?
I don't know, like, I'll be honest, like, you know, this is a little bit inappropriate compared to how you were just talking about the films being overly violent for the sake of entertainment and how it affected you personally, and now you're going off...
trivializing now?
He's trivializing his own video now, but, you know, fair enough.
A day, and cows don't look like that. This movie...
What even... Alright.
is an unrelenting exercise in abuse, trauma, and torture. It tries to justify...
He's torturing, and he doesn't necessarily want to do it. It's because it's getting him the devices that he needs to save the world. That's how he sees it.
Yeah. Yeah, remember, Thanos thinks that he's the savior of the universe. He thinks he's going to save the galaxy here.
Of course what he's doing is horrific and cruel, but he's using it as a tool to get what he needs to get to save the world.
Yeah, he
Very
justifies
pragmatic.
himself because he knows that it's, in his mind, something he has to do. It has to be done.
Yeah, we don't have to agree with it at all, and we absolutely would see him as a bad guy because of this, as do all the heroes.
Non-ambiguously abuse with love.
What?
Abuse is love? I mean, that's not necessarily a falsehood. There are people on the planet who do abuse who they love. I'm confused. What's your point?
And torture. It tries to justify non-ambiguously abuse with love.
What?
It tries to justify that abuse is love? Okay, I need to unravel this in my own head. So is he arguing that the film is telling us that Thanos really did love Gamora despite the fact that he would always torture her or something? Is that what he's saying the film is saying?
If anything, it shows that he doesn't enjoy torturing these people because he loves them.
Not just that though, but like that was a very specific torture. You get a specific outcome. We're not told that's par for the course. That's just something he does every day.
You could say he doesn't torture Gamora, the one that he loves.
The problem that I have overall with this, though, that even if he's right, even if Thanos tortured her every day and said, this is actually me loving you, that's totally a thing that could have happened. And that's a part of his character, perhaps, that he sees love that way. I'm confused as to what your point is. You're telling us that the film is justifying it like it's a good thing? You think the film's telling us that him torturing people is a good thing? This is so interpretive.
In the 40s, we tortured the Jews, and that was definitely a good thing.
I'm so confused. Help me out here.
I am too. I need explanations.
I'm gonna hold you to task for doing that, Marvel. I was on your team. That's why I'm nitpicking you. It's not justified from a film-making perspective. I'm not talking about the plot. I'm talking about the people that made decisions to do this. You actually do have responsibilities.
What?
Fuck off.
What is he talking about?
You have responsibilities bullshit. You fuck off this instant, you hack piece of shit. Don't you even pull that garbage with me. These content creators, they have a responsibility to make the content that I find acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right on that. The reason I'm not even annoyed yet is because I still have no idea what he wants. I can't believe we're 8 minutes and 11 seconds in, and I still have no idea what's happening in this video.
All he said that the movie is too violent, and it equates abuse is love. I guess.
Because he did say it justifies that abuse is love or something like that, but again, I just stand by the fact that there are fucked up people on this planet who actually do abuse the people they love, and they consider it like tough love or something like that. Those people exist. Like, are you saying that they should never portray these people, even if they're as villains? I'm confused.
I am too, man.
I mean,
already said it better.
The film's not saying that that's a good thing.
Yeah, he's the villain. He's the bad guy. He's bad.
Also, yeah, to clarify, art has no responsibility is very true. You should never be held, unless, of course, you made a statement about your art before it came out that it will be X, Y, and Z, and then it's not. You know, there are specifics to this, but the idea that you must make something that does X, Y, and Z is ridiculous.
It's a very authoritarian mindset. It's someone who wants to control media. Is essentially what that boils down to deep down. People want to control what people do.
Postmodernism.
not talking about the plot. I'm talking about the people that made decisions to do this. You actually do have responsibilities. And don't take my word for it. Maggie Mae Fish already said it better than I ever will.
I don't care.
Who's Maggie Mae Fish?
Well, just by looking at her face here,
Maggie Mae Fish.
Doesn't even sound like a real name.
She is an actress from Sandcastles and Get You Back. The Tony Lauren show.
She was on the Tawny Laren show.
So, actor, writer, comedian, DreamWorks TV, Cracked, JASH, Machinima, I'll Eat the Raisins.
Okay.
Los Angeles, California.
I guess let's see what she's got to say.
California, Cracked. She looks like this.
Responsibilities. And don't take my word for it. Maggie Mae Fish already said it better than I ever will.
This narrative is utterly hopeless. How many young children will watch this movie sitting in a theater right next to an authority figure who abuses them? The message that child will...
Oh, I'm sorry. You've drifted right into hyper interpretation now.
Yeah. Some child might interpret something that they see in a movie as something that it's totally not supposed to be interpreted as, because they have this crazy, unusual, fucked up real life situation, and so those two mix and can possibly create things. This is essentially the think of the children argument for art.
And
you can't portray this in art because think of the children.
If anybody in the chat is like, no, she's right, I'll just give you a counterexample. Adventure Time, which is the most like child-friendly thing you're gonna come across. There's characters that are candy in the world. Parts of them like fall off sometimes or get eaten or whatever else, and I should be like, what if a kid interprets that as he's supposed to eat his friends? Oh no!
This is essentially saying this is an argument used by everything from Christian fundamentalists to the far left, anyone who wants to be an authoritarian. We can control the art that you create, and we can control the art that you consume, because think of the children. Not literally 100% of everybody might get the message correct or interpret things correct. Therefore, you have a responsibility to
Mola,
change
that's a horrible comparison. You don't get it then. Like, seriously, it's about the fact that you just draw whatever you want out of the source. It's not... The film... Even if the film had a character outwardly suggest that anybody who loves you should hit you, that would still be like, think of the children, what they'll learn from this. It's like, there's horrible shit in loads of content. It's about displaying life as a reflection.
I mean, look at the villain. Look at the villain in every Disney movie. Every single Disney movie, the villain does terrible things. Where's the outrage there? I mean, look at not Cinderella, but like Tangled and Rapunzel. You know, the witch loves Rapunzel or whatever, and so she says she wants to keep her safe, right? In the tower. I mean, that's kidnapping under the guise of love.
I just don't understand movies. I don't understand how he's come to this conclusion that like this movie's trying to tell people that like this is okay, because it's like he kills like almost all of the people ever in the universe. And he's like the main force of evil. Like how is he coming to this conclusion that anyone's defending this shit? He's supposed to be the one that you're fighting against.
That's why nothing wrong.
and I don't think this is portrayed as like a good thing. I think this is the problem.
Oh, yeah.
The film confirms for the audience that you need to sacrifice someone you love to get the Soul Stone. So he throws her off, despite being someone who caused her a lot of damage in her life, and it confirms. The film is like, yes, he did love her, meaning that his abuse of her is confirmed as someone who's love. And again, I'm just like, yeah, that's something that occurs in real life.
It's like he's trying to say that because it's they tried to make the villain more relatable, which is something that a lot of stories try to do. That they're trying to be like, see, he's not like the most evil person ever, therefore okay. It's like, no, he's still evil. They're trying to make him relatable because that's a more enticing villain.
And like
somebody in the chat brought up the Incredibles bad guy syndrome. Like, do these people watch Incredibles?
Too violent.
I mean, yeah, well,
Is
we can
that
sit
too
here
violent?
literally all day, pick any children's content, and then just think of the worst thing that could be interpreted from it. It's easy. And the idea that Marvel confirmed through the mechanics of this universe that Thanos truly did love her, and that it was shown in the film as abuse, in telling children that abuse is a form of love, that's, I think, what their concern is. But the fact is, it's like, don't you understand these people exist? There are people in the world, monsters love people too. It's like, you don't... I don't think you get it. It's like, it's about Thanos' character, and you'd be like, well, that's
He hits
even
me because he loves me.
even if that's true, it's inappropriate for children. At which point, I'd just be like, I mean, watch anything from like, yeah, you're not giving enough credit to children's content, especially older Disney stuff. There's plenty of deeper themes and questions to be asked about what stuff means what. It's just like you've decided to dig into Infinity War for some reason. You didn't dig into anything else.
Look at the Lion King. That wasn't exactly like some super light, child-friendly. This is all sunshines and rainbows. Like, no.
Oh, you remember
main
the end of
character,
Spider-Man 1, Sam Raimi's one, where Spider-Man's like torn to shit by the end of it, like the whole costume's fucked up and there's blood all over his face, and like,
oh yeah,
Green Goblin's about to kill him. I'd just be like, that's pretty intense. But maybe that's not the argument. Maybe it always has to be an inference thing, which means I just come back to Adventure Time. Like, you show people falling apart, you'll be happily, because if someone was going to be like, they're candy though, they're not humans, I'd just be like, these aren't humans, they're clearly different species. It's like, how semantic do you want to get on this one? I'm calling you a hypocrite if you think that this film has a bad message for kids, but no other content from children's could possibly be interpreted that way. And besides, let's be fair, think of the children as one of the most annoying fucking arguments in history. There's plenty of children who would fucking adore this shit. I know I would have. I don't even know what age group they're talking about, by the way.
I mean, I liked the first Transformers back when I was a kid.
The films are 12 in my country, obviously. So that means anybody 12 and above can go and see this. Do you think it's suitable for anybody 12 and above, guys?
Oh yeah,
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd say there's nothing too intense. But now I'm curious what the age ratings on other films are. I wonder if Star Wars is a 12 or not.
Someone pointed out Watership Down is intense. I mean, that's a gory ass kids movie.
That shit's fucking. That's hardcore.
That's a twisted film, man.
I just it reminds me of the whole thing about you know, like how you should never portray things that make women we need more women in films to let women know that they can be actors. And like, to me, I'm just like, stop making women and children so absurdly stupid that they watch Infinity War and decide they need to start punching people they love. Like, really? It reminds me of the whole, like, if they play Doom, they're gonna start killing people. It's like, okay. I played Quake when I was like 7. Yeah, you lost me, but you know, we'll let him keep going, I suppose.
Will receive is abuse is love.
No.
What about
not even close?
And even if that were the case, there's plenty of love is love in the film, like sacrifice and family and friendship and stuff.
I mean, did she not catch the part where Scarlet Witch was like torn up inside as she was literally killing Vision?
Are they arguing that they're saying abuse is only love? Like, there's no bad side to abuse, that it is love? Like,
I don't know. I guess I'll have to see.
Oh yeah, there's a whole Lovecraftian element to Adventure Time. That's true. There's grisly deaths, there's fates worse than death in the actual show. The show gets very crazy, but it's all housed in this very friendly, doughy, happy, simplistic environment. So it's you know, kids won't notice the other stuff going on, hopefully. But again, the interpretive stuff is just fucking annoying.
Filmmaking. That's why the positive movie guy is so pissed off. But before I transition over to Thanos, let's talk about the Guardians for a second.
What does this have to do with the video called Let's Talk About Thanos? Why are you transitioning to the Guardians of the Galaxy? What does this have to do with anything?
This French bullshit.
Partez-toi.
I don't think this film really understood or nailed the tone of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I thought they fucking masterfully put it in.
I thought it was one of the best parts of the film.
I mean, it was really seamlessly transitioned.
I couldn't believe how well the Guardians
insane.
film slotted right into with Avengers' tone. Like, it was... But, you know, both me and Mikey have now made opposing statements. Neither of us have arguments. But I wonder if he's going to provide any. Let's have a look.
And usually that would be easily set aside, but this one's complicated. What cannot be set aside is Gamora and Quill, especially Gamora, cause y'all did her dirty. Or Nebula, who was literally
Oh, he likes just not qualify anything. We do not qualify.
Less non sequitur meme, more explanation.
Yeah, like, stop wasting time on just making more points that don't go anywhere.
I mean,
as being
she didn't strike me as being any different in this movie as she was in Guardians.
Exactly.
Like, it literally
Months on
felt
end,
exactly like a Guardian every time there.
Yeah, I mean,
literally introduced as being tortured for months on end and left in suspended, disassembled.
Of course he's smirking. He's just proven his daughter to be a liar. He outfoxed her. He's satisfied. He's not a fucking good guy. Stop acting like the film thinks he's a good guy.
Well, that's the thing. He immediately opened this up with saying that he's the protagonist, which is like so wrong.
It means he has to be a good guy, apparently.
also,
I don't know.
yeah, the protagonist doesn't have to be a good moral person. Citizen Kane.
Punisher. I mean, he's supposed to be grey. That's the point of him, right?
Starkiller, Force Unleashed, any character in Joe Abercrombie's books, Geralt of Rivia.
Where Thanos can just inflict untold pain on his daughter whenever he wants. Like, I could spend
That's what bad guys do.
He's doing it for a point, though. He's actually doing it for a reason in this scene. He's not just doing it.
He's like literally trying to get Gamora to do.
Guardians are handled in this movie. Quill spent 2 movies learning what it meant to be an adult. All seen.
Not sure I agree with that one. Learning what it meant to be an adult.
I don't think he was doing anything else but being an adult.
I would rather argue he learned more about, like, opening up to he basically creates a new family by the end of it, right? Because he's lost his and the Ravagers. He always looked at Yondu as being someone who was never his actual friend, who was always trying to abuse or eat him, as he says. And so he's a Lone Ranger, and he's actually gonna work with people now. I don't know about... He learned to be an adult. I'd love to hear the perspective on that one.
Through the lens of coming to grips with the death of his parents. One he himself had to kill to save the galaxy. Coming to grips with adult responsibility and learning not to be an idiotic man-child.
And you literally showed the scene where he idiotically overreacted and tried to kill someone who can't be killed and it ended up getting himself captured. I'm pretty sure the point is that he's an incredibly emotional creature.
Yeah, we see that in Infinity War too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is strange. This is the thing now, he's making all these arguments for Guardians of the Galaxy that he's not qualifying, when we were just going through the ones about Thanos. It's like, come on, dude.
Almost like these films were autobiographical for James Gunn, he himself coming to grips with the...
James Gunn did the fucking consulting on the Guardians in Infinity War, dude.
Shock artist he used to be, and trying to be a better person and learn through his art. Things Disney already knew about and fired him anyway on behalf of a lot of people acting in 100%.
Sure, but like, what does this have to do with the video?
Even I don't even agree that these people are arguing in bad faith. See that you're doing the Macintosh thing, you're doing the SJW thing, where you assume everybody's intention.
Yeah.
And you label them as having those intentions, and then you dismiss them.
There's a lot of people who really just didn't want him anywhere near Disney stuff after seeing what he had written, because that's up to them. People feel things.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they're acting in bad faith. Acting in bad faith is pretending to be outraged just because you don't like him.
Oof.
Bad faith, which Disney also knew. And it's easy to readily admit he made tasteless jokes about abuse in tweets he deleted and apologized for as he grew as a human.
I mean, I agree, but it's still on Disney's part to decide if they want to keep him hired or not. That's up to them. I can disagree with the decision all I want, but like, what are you trying to prove? He apologized for the thing he did. Okay, they can still fire him. It's not like it's illegal. I'm confused.
Is just the person he was at the beginning of the first movie. He's impulsive, childish, and
he was impulsive in Guardians 2. There's no way that you couldn't argue that.
Makes mistakes that Gamora pays for with her life, and even after she...
How does he respond?
How does
Wait,
his
what?
mistake? What?
How does he?
I mean,
Yeah,
he pulled the trigger, but the only reason that her brains didn't get splattered all over the place is because Thanos
and that was
turned it into a bubble gun.
And that was after all of the Guardians ignored his attempt to create a plan, if you remember. A plan that he ends up doing on Titan that works, by the way, until he obviously ruins it himself. But when does he cost her life? I don't know.
I mean, they were on a different planet at the time, so...
But yeah, like, I
difficult to
actually
say.
would argue that the Guardians themselves as a team are pretty childish. Gamora's like the mum, you know? Like, the team of them are all very, let's say, underdeveloped, undermatured, and, like, that's a part of the charm.
Unfocused, kind of.
Because they're all just sort of, you know, and that's a great part of them. They're like a big family. It's awesome. But Quill is certainly not a paragon of maturity by the end of Guardians 2. I certainly wouldn't say that myself.
He dies, he's still making the same mistakes. So he's not even learning from the shit in your own movie. Like the Avengers win, but he's just so mad about the woman he might be in love with, but most
Might be in love
Might
with?
be. He might be.
Have you seen these films, sir? Like, what the hell?
He almost killed himself in the first movie to save her life.
And in the second
How
one,
could you possibly say otherwise?
The second film, he's trying to get in her pants throughout the whole thing, and it's only at the end that they actually finally hook up because he's obsessed. He really likes her.
And they go really, really out of their way to show in the Infinity War just how much he means to her.
They are.
He literally says that he loves her in Infinity.
Yeah, there's a lot of time spent on those two. You have to actually be fair here. That Marvel put their legwork in with those two. They developed that relationship. This is what do you mean? What
just shows ownership over her the end.
Shows ownership.
Ownership.
Oh my god.
How?
Why'd you have to make it about these things? Why can't you use references?
I'm sure he'll give us an example.
Entire time.
He took my girl. Wait, who are you?
And
He took my girl. That's like a 70s thing to say.
Really?
That doesn't mean that the girl belongs to him. It's like my husband, my wife.
My
That doesn't mean they
man.
belong to you. They're.
Isn't
It's
that
an
something
indicator of
people say in like every single relationship ever?
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Shives. Where you're such a cuck like Steve that you'll be like, I actually belong to her.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's a culture thing. Him saying that is a reason why he would say that and that Tony wouldn't.
And she would say, my boyfriend.
I mean, if my girlfriend says the same thing to me, does that mean that she's exerting ownership over me?
Would it have been
because
okay if
women
he
are
had said
manipulated
my
and controlled.
girlfriend? That's the question,
Alright.
isn't it? Would it have been okay if he said my girlfriend, or would that be still possessive?
I don't know. This guy's fucking stretching. To
Someone
try and
said
pull
my
this
burger.
Bullshit.
Gamora, yikes, giving her a piece of knowledge just so Thanos could kill her for manufactured stakes and using that death to prove that this abuser.
What do you
actually
mean
really
manufactured stakes? It's about him getting the killing everyone at the end.
Are they
video
manufactured? It's literally been since Avengers that we knew about this, and that was what 2011 was it? How I don't understand.
does love her is legitimately revolting.
You think it's revolting that Thanos loves her? See, this is where you're losing me. Bad people love too.
Yeah, bad people love.
What's the?
Every hit
Well,
passes, Ava.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Oh.
Hitler liked animals. I guess
It's-
we shouldn't like animals.
It's
because that's disgusting.
310 to Yuma. Have either of you guys seen that movie?
I have not.
I've never heard of it.
So the film is about like an outlaw who's really just really well known. He's being taken from town A to a train, the 310 to Yuma, to be hanged in Yuma. And along the way, he's got a bunch of people with him, and he's not even worried because basically the angle is that he's you could argue he's a lot like he's very confident, almost like a cool good guy sort of thing. You kind of like sort of get interested in him, but then his logic is he could easily win at any moment, and everyone's sort of getting along. And Christian Bale and Russell Crowe are the main characters, and they're sort of having a back and forth, trying to figure each other out. And there's a scene where there's a guy he actually has a bit of a history with in that group who starts insulting his mother. and like he's getting more and more frustrated as time goes on until he snaps and like gets he breaks free and basically throws the guy right off a cliff that they were near. And I'm talking about the remake as well. And before he does it, he says even bad men love their mamas, and he throws her. And it's like it's a line I always remembered because I was just like, yeah, bad people love people. It's a thing. You might want to look into it. I'm sorry that...
I mean, sure, there is like the fun archetype or stereotypical villain like Sauron or
Skeletor,
the Emperor. You know, those are fun, but there's also like villains like they tried to do with Thanos, where they tried to make him, you know, relatively relatable, so that it's like, oh, there's some human characteristics behind him, kind of like the Joker with the Dark Knight. They tried to make him not just your typical villain. You don't have to be like the most evil person ever in the history of anything.
You guys,
you can actually have some human characteristics.
You guys should refresh. I'm gonna post it again so you guys can get there. But Jared's released a sexy man boob 300 sub special, and you should just check out the thumbnail.
Dear,
look at that thumbnail.
Oh boy.
Hold up, I'm pulling up YouTube. Oh my god! Wow, that was quick, Jared.
We'll probably finish with that.
Oh my
tonight.
god! Look at his bed. Holy shit!
That's some lore expansion right there.
The mattress. The mattress is. It's no. We're looking inside. We're looking inside the mattress.
The mattress. The mattress has no cover. It's just the springs.
Holy shit!
How do you do that to a bed?
I've never seen the inside of a mattress before. And wow.
I mean, that's
Jared.
what the inside of a mattress looks like.
Guys, we're watching that as soon as I don't
You
know.
should put that up on the screen, Waller, so people can see it.
Oh my god. It's only a minute.
Or are we
Top
watching
comment,
that?
Too hot for YouTube. My expectations are subverted.
Yeah, we'll give this a little bit more time, but I mean that statement right there, the whole bad people don't love, like, or it's what did he say it was? It was disgusting or it was revolting.
Oh, here, let me back up just a bit.
Piece of knowledge just so Thanos could kill her for manufactured stakes, and using that death to prove that this abuser actually really does love her is legitimately revolting.
You know, I genuinely, like, I feel kind of condescending to say it, but it's like, how naive are you? Do you think bad people don't love people? Do you think abusers don't love people?
Maybe he thinks films have a responsibility to show that evil people are just evil through and through to the core. There's nothing human about them.
Do you think that love can only be a good, like, happy, positive thing? That there's no toxic love? Do you know what some people do when they're, like, massively in love? Do you know what stalkers are?
I mean, I was in an abusive relationship for 2 years, so
this is what this is why I'm saying I think you're naive. I think that you have no idea what the scope of love is. I think that you've looked at Marvel and said Marvel is saying that love isn't just happy and nice, and that's disgusting. And it's like, ooh. Hey.
Someone said Jews like people too. No, they don't.
That's just fucked up and rude.
We're talking about
He kidnapped her and murdered everyone she's ever known.
No, just half of them.
Half of them. This is important. He only kills half of them.
Yep.
There is a purpose to what he's doing.
I don't think he caught that.
Or cared about.
I don't know.
Somebody is seeing the film through their own personal lens at this point. Just Right would be very impressed.
See, he gave her a knife, which she uses on him and is crying over. What?
It's a little bit poetic, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. It's like poetry, they rhyme.
Exactly. Are you saying that she loves
crying over what? She fucking that was her whole life was with him.
That's all she knows.
Yeah, like what is wrong with you? Do you not understand that love is just not happy, shiny everything? What is wrong with you, man? Why are you trying to box in the emotion, the experience of love?
Hitler's love of Germany drove him to do some kind of questionable things.
I don't understand. This is insane.
This is terrible.
Is that what you're saying? And that's coming from the guy that gave you all the credit in the world. This is a decision you made, and all roads lead to...
Huh?
Sad music.
Dude, his tone on this video is all over the fucking place.
This video's fucking awful.
I'm not even surprised anymore that he's the writer
The
of
Empire Strikes Back ruined everything. We took the wrong lessons from it. Every big
Clearly
franchise
you
middle
did.
chapter.
What does The Empire Strikes Back have to do with anything?
You see, he started his film with that music and sang that, and now we're at part quattro or whatever the fuck the
Parte
French word is for
quattro.
4. And now he's talking about it again, so it's something.
Alright then.
Wrong lessons from it. Every big franchise middle chapter feels the pull of Empire. The big Act 2 then learns the wrong lessons. And I get it, Act 2, the night is always darkest before the dawn. But we're just trying to be unrelenting at this point. Oh, Spider-Man's gonna beg for his life? Dope.
Dope? What is your point here?
You know, these people understand how dead silent this theater was.
I think he's saying they took it too far. But like, who are you to say that they took it too far or didn't take it far enough? What is your argument?
Let's take a look.
Relenting at this point. Oh, Spider-Man's gonna beg for his life? Dope.
I don't want to go.
No, we didn't like that.
That's, yeah, it means...
We didn't like it.
Sure,
it meant
means...
a lot. We like the character a lot. It's a great character. So seeing him go like that that's the thing. These, when they die or whatever, it's not like this heroic death, you know? It's not noble or anything. They just disappear. It's not something you can fight against either.
Like, does he just not like the concept of drama? Is it horrifying to him?
I don't know. I think maybe that is the idea. Maybe the idea of conflict to him is...
Or is it
impossible to stomach?
You know, like the most common complaints the MCU was getting was that there was never any repercussions for any of the events. Everyone goes back to normal. And so, like, they do this, and now they've gone too far. You're not allowed to do this. This is too much. Empire Strikes Back got it right when it chopped Luke's hand off and sent Han into carbonite. That's what you're supposed to do. I don't get it.
Sir, please. Please, I don't want to go.
Look, there's absolutely no way to say The Avengers Infinity War is a bad film.
Okay.
It's an astonishing and occasionally tiring, awesome thing. That's why mileage varies on how different people react to different films. It seemed to take some cheap shortcuts in an effort to have the universe pay attention to a man who doesn't listen to logic or reason with terrible ideas.
But he does listen to logic and reason.
His own.
Yeah.
It's complicated. It's not...
Yeah, he does use logic and reason to find a solution.
If you remember the part where he says, like, Doctor Strange criticizes him, and I think the 2 times that it's all about perspective, he says, oh yeah, you're a prophet for predicting everyone was going to die from lack of resources, and he says, I'm a survivor. So it's like, oh, you get an idea of how he considers himself, and then he says that, you know, he suggested a solution, and then Doctor Strange says, yeah, genocide, and then he came back with, what's the line? He says something like... where I'm going with this is that he would change. He wouldn't say genocide. He would say salvation, for example. He's got internal logic, and it's fucked, but it's there.
Consistent.
And do a bunch of aggressively violent stuff to kill half the universe because he bullheadedly thinks he's right.
Half the universe. It's not aggressively violent stuff. He literally poofs them out of existence. He actually says that's why it's preferable. It's mercy. They don't have to be murdered. Well, you know, depending on your definition.
You don't have to starve or be killed by people in desperation.
Yeah, like, come on. This is just... You're not giving the movie any credit here. You're just, like, dropping out loads of details.
Even when people tell him he's not.
Little one, it's a simple calculus. This universe is finite. Its resources finite. If life is left unchecked, life will cease to exist. It needs correction.
You don't know that!
I'm the only one who knows that.
I think in 2018...
Did you think that proves something? Anyone?
If I'm wondering why that scene doesn't tell Mikey anything.
He's like... he keeps coming back to that scene. He tortured her to get the Soul Stone to complete his plan. If, like, let me level with you, Mikey. If you thought that there was a button in your house you could press that'll save everyone, and that the only thing stopping you was like a cat that was permanently stuck to it, and the only way to do it was to chop through it, wouldn't you say that's worth it? And then it's just like, okay, so let's scale that up. Would you say it's worth it for you know, a person who's on their deathbed anyway? It's like, oh yeah, I guess. It's like, okay, is it worth someone who isn't on their deathbed but they're 80 years old? And you're like, maybe. It's like, you know, it's Thanos decided that it is absolutely worth torturing Nebula to be able to save the world. It's you know, I don't know what else to say.
That's a thing just a little tough to find entertaining for a lot of
Someone in the
people.
chat said mattress lives.
Oh, and he just said it's difficult to find it entertaining. It's like, well, that's on you.
To find entertaining, it's actually a pretty... if it's engaging and it holds your attention and you're riveted by it, and if it thrills you, you know, it's like being terrified in a movie or a video game. Is that entertaining?
Oh,
Like,
and someone's just said
smiling.
destroying half the life would like ruin ecosystems everywhere, and it's like, yeah, this is the thing. I don't think the film's arguing that Thanos is right. He thinks he's right because he did it with a population before and it worked. That's enough
And
to
I'm
convince
pretty sure
him.
he does it with sentient life that builds civilizations, not like animal populations.
Yeah, we don't even know. Maybe that is what happens. Maybe it doesn't. It's, you know, he's a villain, okay?
Yeah, the whole point is he says it's better that half of everybody dies because I think that if we don't, everyone will die.
And like, I'm trying to argue what he might say to all these things, but the thing is, like, whoever even gets to ask him these questions, I don't think that doesn't happen in the film. And if it did, who knows what he would say?
It's a movie where the abuser won after murdering one of his daughters.
I mean, this is part 1, by the way. I don't think he's gonna win overall, but sure.
He's crazy. He's insane. He's the Mad Titan.
Numerous people tweeted at me when I applied even the gentlest pressure to his story. I think his narrative does a disservice to the world by continuing to just sort of make up whatever suits our punch book's validation for a villain. For starters, that's not remotely how mental illness works.
Is he mentally ill?
You are gonna tell the world what mental illness works like? Huh?
You just said that you had like a PTSD attack because you watched Infinity War. I don't think you should be telling other people how mentally ill they are.
I'm sorry, but like, to even pretend that there's not a mentally ill person out there who actually could reach the point of being like a Thanos. It's like, of course there could be. Mental illness is not like restricted.
Hitler had mental issues.
The scale of mental illness is insane. You get people out there who are convinced that they gain power from eating their own fingers or something. It's not really limited.
And this continued proliferation of manufactured narrative foofara explicitly to give our villains a reason to be comically evil is detrimental to us as a species.
What?
Detrimental to us as a species.
It's detrimental to us to have Thanos as a villain.
Don't forget, this is the same guy who wrote Aliens Green. Everyone in the audience that has played that game. So whenever he says anything about writing, you can disregard everything. Because he doesn't. I mean, when that's on your resume and you're the sole writer of Aliens, Colonial Marines, yeah, your opinion on what writing is, and just the fact that
damaged
he
to
said
that
in this
point.
video is
Wow,
damaged is one way to put it.
What? It's crazy how people can take things from media like this. Like, is this really what you see? Damn, man.
Our inability to
Aliens,
have an honest
Colonial Marines
conversation-
was detrimental to our species.
Detrimental to our species and mental health in this country. The portrayal of Thanos in Infinity War, who is often lauded as an excellent villain, is detrimental to our species and mental health because his craziness is used as an excuse or something.
I don't.
About mental health in this country while simultaneously pumping out entertainment that just invents whatever definitions for mental health it wants.
Since when did the film actually state that he was mentally ill and that mental illness is the reason he's a villain? Like when is that the thing that happens?
And who the fuck goes to who the hell looks at a mentally ill person and says they're just like the villain of a comic book?
Because I'm assuming his point is that the film is trivializing mental illness to the point where it's saying if you're mentally ill, you're probably just going to be a villain because that's how villains work. But
I mean, there was nothing that even indicated him being mentally ill.
I was going to
in
say,
the movie.
with how little
But
they
it looks
actually
like
present,
people-
he's consistent to himself. That's kind of the point.
If anything, he's like kind of creepily mentally stable throughout all of this.
This is the thing, because I genuinely think if we had a scene where Doctor Strange was like, why don't you double the resources? And then, let's say Thanos actually could do that. You could easily see him being like, that doesn't solve the problem, it only stalls it. And then he's like, well, halving the population is the same thing. How is that going to do anything but stall it? And then he's like, it'll be a lesson. Imagine that. You know, like we never get to have these conversations because Thanos is too busy actually enacting his plan. Like we don't know for sure that you've converted him into insane because you have all these reasons for why his plan won't work, but you don't know that he considers those valid. Is kind of what I'm getting at here. So you're like, he's obviously being portrayed as an insane person, and it's like that. It's not necessarily the truth at all. The film does not.
He comes across as very lucid.
Yeah, he's not. He's very calm in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, he when he does things he doesn't like, he cries. He doesn't like it. He doesn't want to do it.
Crappy. That's not an Infinity War problem, that's a comic problem. Like Batman locks people up in an asylum that never makes any effort to rehabilitate them. And we
no.
What?
Wow.
Okay.
What a terrible well, shut down comics, I guess.
What's his point there? That it's setting a
People
bad
who write
example
comic
for
books
real life
have a
mental institutions?
responsibility.
What's his point there? Like that's happening in Arkham. You can absolutely criticize Arkham for that, but it's fictional, and they're saying that that's how it works. I don't understand. Is he saying it's setting a bad example for mentally ill people?
No, I don't know a
People
whole
took-
lot. I don't know a whole lot about the Batman universe, to be perfectly honest. But from what little I've seen, from like what little comics I've read, I don't think Arkham Asylum was ever painted as this like super happy, nice place where villains get rehabilitated.
And like he's probably. I just find it interesting that he's like criticizing Batman for that. It's like, yeah, Batman, you should just be killing them. What's wrong with you? Or fucking capturing them. And you know what? I find it hard to believe. I'm pretty sure in the Batman games they have tapes you can pick up where the institutional people are actually interviewing and talking to the members about their problems and trying to figure them out. The idea that they don't help them at all, I think, even from my perspective, who's someone who's not even read a Batman comic ever, would be like, I don't believe you. I want someone who's Batman savvy to confirm that. At least 3 people who are Batman savvy.
just sort of accepted that people with labeled mental illnesses are inherently not worthy of saving.
What?
Wow.
Where did you get that from?
Yeah, that's straight out of left field there.
What? Jared makes more sense than this. You know how we said that we go to Jared and then we come back down to the ground with something like this or Macintosh, we come back to reality. I think it's the reverse. Jared binds
Jared
us.
is reality.
Lifeline.
Jared
Yeah,
binds
he's our
us back to the
lifeline.
ground.
Our tether to what's real.
He's what keeps us sane. Somehow.
The Infinity War problem is sort of worse. A lot of people kept telling me it's supposed to be a dumb plan. It doesn't need to make sense. That was the point. But the people that made this movie don't believe that. It's a false justification.
What?
They think he's empathetic.
We wanted to tell a story about a character with a really complex and empathetic interior life.
This is the only.
You are arguing you should not empathize with his goals, which are to save everyone. Obviously,
Villains are ones that are complicated and who can justify what they want to do, and even better if you can empathize with them in some way. They're not just cartoon characters of an evil, laughing villain archetype.
oh, there's 2 things
has
from
no redeeming
chat.
qualities.
Someone said that doesn't Batman have mental issues himself? And it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he does, despite being
Like
portrayed as the
Sherlock.
hero throughout. Yeah, there's a lot of heroic characters who have mental illness to deal with. And someone said that I'm going back on my idea that you can't involve third-party media. I'm not sure what you're criticizing there. He mentioned the Batman comics. I said from playing the Batman game that I know that they actually tried to rehabilitate through that. So I want to know for sure from people who actually know Batman comics if it's true or not. Because obviously,
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know a whole lot.
Yeah,
so if it's just like what little I can glean from like what little I've read, it was like, well, it seems like a shitty place, but that's.
Yeah, I knew he was locking himself in here because he's saying like you should not be able to empathize with Thanos. To empathize is to understand and share the feelings of another. So as long as you at least understand or share at least one feeling that Thanos has, you can empathize with him because humans can do that. That's a thing humans do. You can't just go, you shouldn't empathize with him unless you're... Well, this is where he's going to start folding in on himself. What if mentally ill people empathize with Thanos? What are you going to say then? You're going to say they're wrong? You're going to say that they're not actually mentally ill? Like...
You can empathize with people and still see them as villains and terrible people.
This is why I really feel it's important to separate subjectivity from objectivity. When it comes to subjectivity, empathizing with someone, you're never going to catch me, Wolf or Rags, I would assume, arguing in our videos that you cannot empathize with this character, okay? So don't. Be like...
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that you're watching the movie.
Solution. He's seen it firsthand on his planet.
Thanos is a very complex character. What he's doing, from his point of view, is a very positive thing.
Thanos is the greatest villain in the history of Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I agree with like, all of those statements.
I think so.
He paints this as though it's a bad thing.
He's trying to... It's like, I've exposed them with those clips, and I'm like, yes?
Yeah, that everything they said is true.
Well, it's like we just disagree on this fundamental idea that we think empathizing with a villain can make for a great villain. And I guess he thinks that you shouldn't be able to empathize with a villain. It's hard to say because...
Look at Game of Thrones and all the horrible characters in there, and you empathize with a lot of them, even if they're bad people.
Someone said, why are you judging Mikey for it? As if like we're being hypocritical. I'm only countering his statement that you somehow shouldn't empathize with Thanos. If he was saying, in my opinion, you should not empathize with Thanos, I would still disagree with it, because that's not an opinion. That's like literally a statement about the ability to be able to empathize, which is not something that could ever be judged to literally everyone can empathize with anything. That's the premise of those words. You can't just go, I disagree with the definition of words now, that's my opinion. But if he said he doesn't empathize with Thanos, that's fine. Of course, anybody could both not and do empathize with him. I don't know, it's up to them. But it's just bizarre. Why would you even try and say that you can't empathize with him? Or I'm guessing
this narrative is now getting regurgitated into the world.
Thanos, my boy, has quite the point.
You don't gotta go far to find people that believe that, because humans like easy solutions to complex infrastructural problems.
Is killing half of all sentient life an easy solution?
You don't even... Why is he saying like this is a bad thing? So he agrees that you can empathize with him then, because people are, right?
And he's saying he shouldn't.
I guess he's saying, yeah, which is... You can explore that, I suppose. But stop pretending like this is some kind of like...
The opposite. They didn't.
Okay.
So quick math.
Seriously, this is one of the most tonally balked videos like I've ever watched.
This is very strange. I don't know what...
Didn't he just do like the slow piano like half a minute ago or even less?
Like the Last Jedi tone. I don't know. How do you want me to fail?
Break. If you deleted half of the world's population, it would get you back to about 1970 or around full generation. Your parents would be fine. In other words, 200 years ago, there would be less than 1 billion people on the planet. Thanos don't math good. For Thanos...
Oh, but let me present you a counter-argument. Thanos halved the population of a planet and it fixed their resources and ecosystem completely. Now, I'm not saying it should have done that. I'm saying that the film told us that's what happened. That is a fact in their universe that he's basing his logic off. Okay? It worked. Like, that's the point, right? You don't have to prove to me that it's not a good plan, because I never thought it was a good plan.
But he's disgusting and evil.
This is planned to make a dent and actually come off as a good plan in the way that a lot of poo-poo heads on the internet are suggesting it would have value.
Well, then,
Poo-poo heads.
what is this video, man? Like, what?
What a child.
Confused as
Seriously.
to what you try to. He like opens earlier with talking about how like this is inappropriate for children because it's abuse and love, and he had a panic attack because of the abuse or the depression he was going through at certain points. Very adult, and then he's like, "You're a poo-poo head." Okay.
You'd have to take the population.
Also, someone said, but yeah, some people think it's a good plan, though. Like, that's an issue. That's not a bad thing from my position. It's open for discussion
How
at
is
that
that
point
a
then.
bad thing?
Because what they say then is that we should do it, or something like that, and then you have people talk to them about how they shouldn't do it, and it's a conversation that happened because of the character's portrayal.
I mean, it's only a bad thing.
It's
It's
only
only a
say
bad
it's a
thing
good
if they
plan
do
because they
that
think it
in real
will
life.
actually work.
To give you
Like,
a
it's not a moral
comparison,
plan, but it will be effective.
if anyone's watched Game of Thrones, Tywin Lannister makes a lot of very, very immoral decisions, arguably, in order to end the war. That's how he justifies it. And I actually would argue that he had a great fucking plan if you considered him the good guy the whole time, which you could. He's very, very, I guess pragmatic would be the word. He's trying to find the best, easiest, quickest way to win. And he wants to, I believe...
Very Machiavellian.
This is a law thing, so I'm cheating, right? I accept that. I'm not using it as an argument for the show. I'm simply sharing that if you read the books and you knew the history, the kingdom considered the rule under Ares the First, or the Mad King, to be the best when he basically wasn't doing anything, and it was Tywin's leadership as Hand of the King that the kingdom was in its golden age, essentially. Because Tywin was one of like the best kings ever, and he should have been on the Iron Throne from fucking start to finish because he's super intelligent. He just kept getting pushed into a position where he had to be essentially evil. Now, there's loads to discuss on that. It's fucking fascinating. But then you've got people who are like, Thanos was the good guy. His plan would have worked. We should. Oh, Ares the Second. Sorry. And then you have that discussion. I mean, if there was a world leader who rose and was powerful enough to enslave humanity and kill half of us and then let us go, and he said the whole reason he did was because he was influenced by Avengers Infinity War, then, I mean, I suppose you could say that they're responsible for doing that, but again, you would have to argue that that person was also insane, and it was just waiting for the right movie to come across that he would just do that with, you know? It's a bit of a stretch. More stuff sucking off Tywin. No, I love him. He's amazing.
Back to around 2000 BCE when there was around 72 million people on the planet, or let me get my calculator, 0.972% of what we have now. And that would only buy you 4,000 years before you encountered the same problem again, because it isn't a solution, it's a reset.
Do you guys follow what I was saying though? The whole like, it worked for him on that planet, so this is all irrelevant?
Yeah, they've established that it works.
It works
in
for
this
him.
universe. It works.
So we don't need this. Like this is all relevant to him.
That's not a dunk on the character.
Like literally, if you just said all that to Thanos, Thanos would be like, you would just criticize the statistics in some way, shape, or form.
That's a dunk on the writing. It's arbitrarily ludicrous.
You don't get to talk shit about writing. You were aliens, Colonial Marines.
Value.
I don't feel so good.
For the shock value, okay, sure. You've not proven that it's broken yet. You've only given a perspective for why a president, for example, or why a logical, smart, happy, good leader who's dealing with a difficulty in population overgrowth would choose not to do Thanos' plan. Which again, Thanos is a villain. Just putting it out there.
But I'm in the weeds now because plan is bad. Fine, I'll accept its dumb on purpose explanation because.
Parte 5.
Love this movie with all of your heart. Just understand why a lot of people felt left out in the cold by it. It is
when you say a lot, do you mean like 6 or 7 people?
A lot of people were left out by the cold.
I've never seen anyone who didn't like it, actually. I have yet.
I mean, I even have friends that, like me, are not huge Marvel fans, and all of them, including me, loved this.
It's very approachable.
Heretofore unseen in the comic book movie genre. Hell, I don't know if film has ever had a movie with stakes this high,
yeah,
which for a lot of people...
What, end of the world?
Yeah, end of the world.
In fact,
happens
this
all
is
the time.
only half
This
of
is
the end
less-
of the
yeah.
world.
Yeah, this
So-
isn't the end of like reality. Or
The
anything.
stakes were bigger in Avengers: Age of Ultron, technically speaking. Ultron's plan was to wipe out humanity as a whole. So
I just wish that Thanos was played by Gandalf. I don't know, man.
Space Wizard, man. They'll get you.
oh
They'll get
gosh,
you.
Patrick Willems has got
Balrog,
a new
he
video
leveled up.
called "The Storytelling Language of Star Wars."
Oh,
boy.
Well,
Oh, no.
I mean, I'll check it out, outside of the stream. But if it's like particularly bad, we could cover it. But surely he's not gonna fuck up again. It's probably
Well,
gonna.
he's over too.
Well, you showed me that that list of his where he was like, the Phantom Menace is better than Revenge of the Sith.
Oh right, yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't think you could possibly get dumber than Patrick Williams.
Were unjustified. All the same, now that we have reached the top, where do we go? Marvel can't really go all the way back to Tony.
I don't think you understand. We went higher than this before, and we went back down, technically speaking, because, again, Age of Ultron was the end of the world. Avengers was arguably the end of the world, too, because they were an invading force that were going to wash over humanity. That was the hope. While this, again, is half of humanity gets wiped out. The Earth stays relatively unblown up, if you know what I mean, by comparison. The stakes feel higher, which is exactly what they should be able to achieve, which I'm impressed with. They make it feel like it's much more cataclysmic, even though, technically speaking, it's not actually as bad as the other two. Which is good.
And that's okay, but remember why your audience was there in the first place. It stung because it rang so empty. You're not going to have to go far to find an adult who doesn't believe that anything you did in this movie is going to stick.
Yeah, that's fine. It depends on what they do. Like, if they resurrect every single character, you'll easily catch me on the criticism train. Absolutely. But, let's be real here. I'm not going to expect them to kill Spider-Man permanently, or Black Panther, or Doctor Strange. I expect them to have killed Vision and Loki, for sure. I don't think we're going to see them come back.
Probably going to kill off Drax permanently.
Yeah, there's a big chance that's going to happen. I would expect that Tony and Cap are going to die in the next one, by the way. That's a very strong assumption based on contract information, but we shall see. If the question is, will we see any repercussions from Infinity War Part 1 and 2 in the rest of the MCU, the answer, I think, would most certainly be fucking yes.
They'll just undo it.
The chorus refrains, which sucks a little bit because now you've wielded some very real trauma for a cheap theatric. Like I
How is that a cheap theatric?
He doesn't know that because there's no sequel yet. You can't know that. For all we know, every character dies in the next film. For all you know.
Cult or something because he has acolytes that follow him and spread his message with fervor, but why? Who are these people? One of them looks like a Blizzard cutscene.
Why do we... I mean, yeah, I agree. But why do we need to know why they follow him?
I mean...
Maybe they believe... Maybe they think like he does. Especially if he's got the proof to back it up.
Like, they're practically just soldiers. Do we need to know why every one of the dog creatures follow this as well? I don't know.
It's like they believe in this cause enough to fight for it.
I mean, the thing is, man, they really take advantage of all the time they have in this film, but I guess we could have had scenes where the four acolytes sat down, they went, following Thanos is great, because when I was a boy, I really wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to rescue the world from itself, and then they go, yeah, me too, man. Just
me too.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
You can do it, I just don't think it matters, because these people were invented for this film, to be... I guess antagonists like this. What's important is our heroes because they're the, and Thanos obviously. I don't know. I guess it just comes down to why do we need to know why these people are fighting with him as opposed to what he's doing it for. And how far do we go with this? How many more people do we need? Do we need to know every individual person in Black Panther's army? Why each of them fight? I don't know.
Where do we go from here?
I guess we'll find out.
But it feels like we found out that it's possible to eat too much chocolate. I feel like we spoiled our dinner. It's just too much. Like, maybe don't build...
No way. I think I'm like most people. I'm super excited for the next one. I'm ready.
I mean,
I want to
yeah.
see what
ready.
they do.
I'm ready for
so
dessert,
more.
man.
Oh yeah, I'm so ready for more.
And this
I am so ready for more.
people could have just said, like, how do you raise the stakes after the Avengers film? Because we just had the world ending, and now we don't. And then you go, Age of Ultron, how do you raise the stakes again? Because we just had the world ending. And it's like, here we go again.
Every single Avengers movie is about.
A movie.
Wasn't Thor 2 about the world ending?
Well, this is the thing. The MCU's had the world end several times, and the funny thing is, Infinity War's not about the world ending. That's
It's
I
about
can't believe he's
half the world.
he's totally like skipped over that detail, which is fascinating to me because it makes me feel like the Russos did a good job. They made it feel like the world was ending despite the fact that it wasn't.
Yeah, the characters. We care about the characters, and when characters are affected by maybe a lesser calamity, they're characters we care about. So it feels more important and impactful.
Characters' sympathies, just spitballing here. And I'm sure Marvel is already aware of this and the need to scale back down. It felt better when there was some...
Yeah, the characters.
And they probably will scale back down with, you know, they did with Ant-Man and the Wasp. They're probably going to do it with the Spider-Man film. They'll probably do it with the next Doctor Strange film. They'll probably do it with the next Black Panther film. Because you're asking why the stakes are so high in the third Avengers film. It's like, well, because that's pretty much capping out maximum investment for all the characters coming together. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see them all come together and then have to beat some guy who stole a lady's bag. It would be like, oh wow, they certainly showed
Ant-Man and the
him.
Wasp, as you were saying, like half of that was about a guy's relationship with his daughter.
Yeah, these are very smaller stories. These are not, the Avengers films are not the time for small stories.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, but you can
something
still
to
have
hold
characters.
on to on these wild rides. Like, our POV character in this movie is sort of Thanos, more to prove that the villain could be the protagonist than anything.
This is not the movie this is not the piece of media that proves that the protagonist can't be or can be the villain.
Yeah, I'm still confused on that part.
Else.
Not to
We don't
mention,
have-
just having a point of view doesn't automatically make him the protagonist.
Hero
Or
to
even a
root for.
protagonist.
Someone just said
Yeah,
constant
people just
escalation is
repeatedly-
terrible writing, and it's like, yeah, what does this guy want? That we just like constantly go up, and then he's like, the second we reach maximum, it's over. I'd just be like, no,
It's
we
like
go
it's
back
all
down.
the cosmos and then reality itself, or like what? And then what? We're just done with movies.
I'd have to ask him, has he ever watched a TV show?
We
It's
don't
like,
have a hero
they
to
peak
root
at the end of the
for,
season,
and
then go
with,
back down.
People just repeatedly emerge from the shadows.
I'm confused. What point was that?
Bucky earned like 3 seconds of sympathy in a scene.
How you been, Buck?
No, there were other.
You have to watch Civil War, Captain America 1 and 2, because that means more once you get the context. This is the whole premise of the MCU, man. My
I mean, I
head
will
hurts.
say I wish that there was more of Bucky in Infinity War. Or Infinity War. I almost called it Infinite Warfare. Stop using infinite in your titles.
Scarlet and Vision engage our sympathies, but then the inside of his skull gets scooped out like a cantaloupe. So I'm assuming they broke up. There's not a story. It's an
No,
event.
he died.
Not
I don't get this guy at all. I don't understand.
I don't get it either, man.
He's
guy's
like
just...
Cosmonaut Variety Hour,
Oh no.
and I hate him just as much.
Not a fan of that channel either. But like, at least with Macintosh, I understand exactly what he's up to. Same with Downward Thrust. But like with this is all over the place.
a narrative, which is fine.
Like, what do you think he's trying to tell you in this video? What would you guys try and summarize it as?
That the character of Thanos is inherently flawed for the purposes of the film.
I think
he's trying to say that you can't have relatable bad people because then that makes bad people more. I don't know.
See, my point was going to be,
justified or
I've got
something.
like 8 different things that I think he was trying to say,
Oh,
and
yeah,
they're all
we can
over the
go on.
place. Like,
We can go on.
mental illness being portrayed in Hollywood is a problem because they don't do it correctly. Villains in comic books are often provided mental illness because they don't know how to generate villains correctly. Thanos himself is poorly written because he doesn't understand the statistics of his own plan not working out well enough. You know, I forgot to mention, by the way, he was talking about our population. And do you remember the planet that Thanos attacked was like, it looked kind of Stone Age-ish? They were all in like huts, and they're all in like cloth clothing. So, you know, like, But what I'm trying to say is, like, it'll be different for every planet, and that maybe Thanos would argue that for the few planets it won't function for, it'll be worth it for the rest. Again, there's so many things you could explore. The point is that we just needed to know why he was motivated to do it, and the film gave us what we needed for that. But yeah, you know, that's just, there's so many other things tied into this video that I don't really. I'm just wondering how he's going to cap it off, because you know when you summarize at the end, you're like, so my point is the blah blah blah. So I just wonder which one of the 17 he's going to pick.
But that don't make you Empire. Don't chase the misery.
What is his problem with Empire?
I think he likes Empire.
I genuinely don't understand what he's trying to get at with Empire.
Don't chase the misery of Empire? Maybe he's equating all negative emotion or low points in films to being bad?
I think he's saying that Empire started a trend where you put your heroes in a down place just before letting them win, and that everyone else is trying to copy Empire and they're failing miserably because they're arbitrarily throwing their heroes into bad places.
I mean, it wasn't even Empire that started that, because, I mean, the Two Towers, the book, was written in the 50s, and that ended in a low place, too.
Isn't it a part of, like, the hero's journey or whatever, which is predating, like...
Yeah, I mean, that's centuries old. That's nothing new.
You can go all the way back.
Someone just said if Empire was a trend, it started with Socrates.
Yeah. Even before that, what is it? The the Epic of Gilgamesh, with his relationship with Enkidu. You know, you gotta.
No, it was
sometimes
Empire.
things go. No, okay.
It was Empire.
Adventure.
Yeah, fair enough.
Star Wars
And
is the most original thing ever.
Hit us with misery nonstop. You might as well be The Walking Dead.
What?
So Walking Dead is on par with Infinity War now? Okay. Sure.
Well, I quit watching the show last, and I'll tell you right now, it's near on.
Well, that was shit.